The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Two overseas Filipino workers tested positive for COVID despite receiving the vaccines. But health experts say this does not mean that the jobs failed. Here's the report.
Health experts are reminding the public that COVID-19 vaccines do not offer 100% protection against the virus. This comes after two returning overseas Filipino workers tested positive for COVID-19 despite getting vaccinated. In an interview with 1PH sa Totoo Lang, DOH Knowledge Management Director Dr. Eric Tayag said that vaccines are still under development.
Na yung bakuna po ay pinag-aaralan kung yun ay makaka-prevent ng infection. Hindi pa tapos ang pag-aaral doon. Subalit, ang mga bakunang nailabas na ginagamit na ngayon at may EUA ay napatunayan nila na makakaprotekto sa severe o mga sakit na maaaring ika-ospital ng isang taong magkakaroon ng COVID.
Tayag also explained that individuals may be infected with COVID-19 before receiving the shots.
Una, bago nabigyan ng bakuna, ay kinapitan na ng virus. Pangalawa, hindi po kompleto yung dose, kaya wala pa siyang complete protection. Pangatlo, yung sinabi ko nga, kahit na siya ay nakitaan ng sintomas ng COVID, hindi naman siya na-ospital. Yung po ang lamang kung tayo ay mababakunahan, kesa hindi natin tayo mababakunahan.
An infectious disease expert also echoes these sentiments. Speaking to One News The Big Story, San Lazaro Hospital's infectious disease chief Ron Jean Solante noted that vaccines have a window of vulnerability.
It will take time before the antibody that is being produced by this vaccine from our body will kick in terms of achieving that level of protection. Okay? It may be 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the vaccination. And that's why it's very important that you have to understand that after the vaccination, you have to be compliant with the health protocol.
Solante also reminds the public to continue observing health protocols even after receiving the shots.
It doesn't mean that you are getting the vaccine, you will take off your mask, you will not practice physical distance, no? Because that alone will only undermine the possibility that during that window of vulnerability, you might still get the infection.
For News 5, Jem Avancenia, we are One News.
Now here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Lawmakers vowed to pass a measure providing for the indemnity requirements needed for the purchase of COVID-19 vaccines. The House of Representatives is keen on expediting the purchase of vaccine shots. And at the same time, the Senate is also expected to pass next week its version of the measure seeking to speed up procurement of COVID-19 vaccines. Senators are also looking to create an indemnification fund for those who sustain adverse effects from vaccination. Additionally, they want to give LGUs and the private sector some leeway to purchase their own serums. Now, Business World reports that the Energy Regulatory Commission has ordered Meralco to refund about 14 billion pesos to customers. That figure represents over recoveries based on its actual weighted average tariff charges from July 2015 to November last year. This comes around 2 months after Meralco applied for the approval of its final refund scheme based on the calculation of its AWAT compared to the ERC's approved interim average. And this from the Freeman. Officials in Cebu are opposing recommendations to place Cebu under another lockdown following a resurgence of COVID-19 cases and the discovery of coronavirus mutations. IATF's chief implementer for the Visayas, Major General Mel Feliciano, said the regional office of DOH does not agree with the lockdown recommendations and suggested for further assessment. Feliciano said assessment will be made after a week of observing the case count and transmission rates in the region. Afterwards, local health officials are expected to come up with their own quarantine recommendation. Pork dealers urged the government to impose a price cap across Luzon. This as Agriculture Department discovered that hog shipments are being diverted outside the metro where a price ceiling is in place. Shaila Francisco with the story.
Commonwealth Market might go porkless on Monday. Vendors, dealers, and slaughterhouses have informed Market Administration that they will not be selling the meat. But they're not on a pork holiday nor a protest. Instead, it's a call for help due to mounting losses.
Gusto namin matulungan ang consumer natin, why not? Sabi ko, pero paano naman kami? Ubos na ang puhunan namin at wala na kaming ipapaubos.
They see cheaper pork supplies from the Agriculture Department as farm gate prices increase. Commonwealth Market is among the beneficiaries of cheaper hogs from Mindanao transported by the DA. But majority of the retailers say they have not received pork shipments. Those who have say delivery doesn't happen daily.
Kailangan yung araw-araw bigyan nila. Kaso ang nila isang beses lang kami wala pa nga kami natatanggap kahit isang beses.
Over at the New Las Piñas Market, supposed recipients of pork from General Santos City have not received supplies since last week. Some just sell fewer pork to cut losses.
Nag-iintay din po kami kasi since well coordinated naman po yung DA dito po sa aming market.
The DA received reports that wholesaler beneficiaries divert hogs outside Metro Manila to earn more. They have tapped the NBI and the CIDG to hunt down violators who could be blacklisted.
Ibigay tayo ng subsidy in condition na i-deliver sa Metro Manila ang baboy. So kung ilabas nila yan, out yan sa subsidy.
Meat dealers now want a Luzon-wide price freeze to stop wholesalers from diverting pork. They say this could also prevent dealers in areas not covered by the price cap from raising prices.
Instead na para dito sa atin sa Metro Manila, mas mataas na nakukuha ng outside Metro Manila. Mas napipresyuhan pa nila.
The DA's Consumer Affairs Department is now studying the proposal. For now, they leave it up to the local price coordinating council to impose a suggested retail price if needed. The DA is also conducting surveillance of shipments. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Mars rover Perseverance has successfully landed on Martian soil yesterday. Since then, it has sent colored photos and the clearest and most detailed among the images culled by the 5 rovers sent to Mars. Here's the rest of the story.
NASA's Mars rover Perseverance, the most advanced of its kind so far, has sent its first ever colored photos of the red planet. Perseverance Assistant Strategic Mission Manager Pauline Wang says the surface team immediately examined the photos of Martian rocks, as images from the rover offered a more detailed look at the alien land.
I'm happy to say that the rover is doing great and is healthy on the surface of Mars and continues to be highly functional and awesome, and I'm exhilarated. Yesterday we had 3 highly successful UHF relay passes where we sent data via our 3 different Mars orbiters.
The big question now is whether these rocks are volcanic rocks. According to Perseverance Deputy Project Scientist Katie Stack Morgan, these will greatly help in determining Martian geologic time.
So if these are volcanic rocks, we are incredibly excited about that from a Mars sample return perspective, because we can really nail that age date with a sample from a volcanic rock.
Perseverance streaked through the Martian atmosphere yesterday and landed safely on the Jezero crater, where it will search for traces of microbial life. This robotic vehicle traveled for almost 7 months before entering the red planet's atmosphere to begin its descent to the surface.
Now, here are the top stories around the world. The White House reached out to social media giants Twitter, Facebook, and Google, asking for help on clamping down on COVID misinformation. Public fear of vaccines has proven to be a major hindrance in U.S. President Joe Biden's effort to curb the pandemic. A White House source said they want to, quote, make sure that anti-vaxxer materials do not start trending online. They also cited the anti-vaccine protest in Los Angeles in early February, which was organized through Facebook. Now, these social media platforms have repeatedly vowed to get rid of said materials, but their enforcement seemed to be lacking. Twitter says it is, quote, in regular communication with the White House regarding COVID misinformation, while Facebook recently announced a new policy to remove COVID and vaccine-related fake news. 25 asylum seekers were allowed to enter the United States as U.S. President Joe Biden unwinds Donald Trump's restrictive immigration policy. Biden earlier vowed to rescind Trump's migrant protection protocols. Said protocols have denied over 65,000 Central American asylum seekers entry to the United States and caused thousands others to be sent back across the border pending court hearings. Now, under the Biden administration, they will be allowed to stay in the United States while waiting for their cases to be heard in immigration courts. And reality star Kim Kardashian filed for divorce from rapper Kanye West after almost 7 years of marriage. This after months and months of divorce speculations. Now, sources say the split was amicable and Kim is asking for joint custody of their 4 children. The reason for the divorce is not yet known. Kardashian filed divorce papers 1 month before the premiere of the last season of her family's reality show. Now, 90s kids, do you still remember the legendary game Mortal Kombat? Well, it's getting yet another film adaptation this year, and we've got the first trailer for it. Watch this.
Warner has finally dropped the trailer for its live adaptation of the classic video game Mortal Kombat. After 2 adaptations in the 90s,
the target had superhuman abilities. It had the same dragon marking you do, Cole.
The 2021 take revolves around Cole Young, who is unaware of his heritage. Sent by Emperor Shang Tsung, Sub-Zero hunts him down. Other iconic Mortal Kombat characters made their appearances, including Scorpion, Liu Kang, and Raiden.
The fate of Earth is in our hands.
Mortal Kombat will stream exclusively on HBO Max, starting April 16. For News 5, MJ Marfori, we are One News.
Now, those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.